Sly Cooper in the Thievius Racoonous is a game about a raccoonist that tries to piece his childhood back together by finding all the pages that were ripped out of his favorite bookus. After his childhood was permanently damaged and literally ripped away in front of his eyes, he set off on a quest with two of his closest buddies to finally make a show called The Three Stooges.
Aged in the wood.
Yeah, but... See that?
Oh!
After 2 seconds of their life passed, the Three Stooges grew up and formed a team to do illegal criminal acts in order to stop the leaders from Fur Infinity from continuing their illegal criminal acts to take out the competition. Also to get revenge and take back what was stolen. I guess it's not as cool or as interesting as my interpretation, but I guess if you're into revenge porn, then I won't kink shame you. Now then, this PS2 classic has everything from precise platforming to slaying every enemy that gets in your way to breaking into saves and performing stunts that would put Daredevil stunts to shame. He shot himself out of a cannon! As I mentioned earlier, along with this 3D platforming that holds quite a bit of collectibles, well, one collectible, but a lot of the same in each level. In almost every area you will be visiting, there will be bottles that you can collect that contain clues. Numbers may vary. And if all these clues are collected in the specified area, then somewhere in the level, there will be a safe you can unlock to try to get something that will either make you groan in disappointment or make you feel like a guy. Hello, my fellow viewers. Have you collected a huge amount of glass bottles that you don't even know what to do with? Well then look no further than the loads of abilities I have for you. Not fast enough? Then learn to roll the ball. It will get you around quicker before you can say, shit, I'm out of time! Finding your normal attacks to be boring or not very effective? Then learn the ability that will make you rain hell fury from the sky! Or maybe this game's not cool enough for you. Then look no further than a slow motion ability. Slow down time to see and capture some epic gameplay that you can use to make montages or compilations. Still not satisfied? Then get your camera ready and slow down time to capture Sly Cooper in his best angles. That way, you have reference pictures to draw your Rule 34 to satisfy your wildest fantasies. Each world is different, from its stormy atmosphere to its swampy swamps, and as of any game, there are areas that will be better than others. And if you're itching to know my opinion on which ones are good, then here's a short list of my preferences. And here's the order I like them in with a short summary explaining why. Vicious Voodoo. Fun, creative, creepy, appropriate and good atmosphere and level design. Very interactive, amazing levels, and the final boss fight is just so much fun. Number 2, Fire in the Sky. Unique, explosive, creative level design implementing the villain's fireworks theme into the levels and his boss fight. Cool enemy behaviors, and fun and cool enemies to fight along with a very fun final boss fight. Tide of Terror. Basic. Really basic. A good starting world, fun, but nothing stands out like the others. Very average in every category. Number 4, The Cold Heart of Hate. Short, but climactic at first. Progressively gets annoying over time. Cool and unique challenges sprinkled with a little bit of seasoning of bullshit, with a very satisfying final boss fight that leaves you with a good feeling after beating it. Snake Eyes, terrible, just terrible. Annoying ass enemies with homing missiles, annoying ass levels, stupid ass mini games. Fuck this world. The final boss wasn't even that fun. It was very disappointing and bland. Who the fuck that's for racing? Who was it? As I was saying, this is not an in-depth review, so if you're looking for an hour-long video explaining every single detail, then you have come to the wrong place. However, for the rest of you, here are some brief explanations I split into categories, so I can rank them individually to give them value, because society has taught us that nothing in this world has value unless you put some sort of price tag on it or a ranking on it. So to begin with, let's start with the game's story. There's honestly not much to say about this category other than it's simple and it gets straight to the point. It's simple and clean and never stays away from its main focus for the entire game. In between, the game likes to sprinkle in some background stories regarding the target you're focused on and adds a little bit of fluff here and there. It's used at the right time, doesn't overstay its welcome. I give the story a 10 out of 10. It's everything I expected out of a platformer, just simple focus with a little bit of fluff on the side. The gameplay is fluent for the most part, and designed around the levels. However, it doesn't mean that it's perfect to a T. The platforming is only as good as the levels designed around it. Yeah, the jumps feel nice and the special platforming segments are well placed and work like they're supposed to. However, it could get aggravating when you run into shitty level design. There's also a lot of other gameplay mechanics to look into. The racing mechanics are utter ass and can feel like you're fighting with the car instead of driving it, and it's no better in the remastered version. In fact, they feel a lot worse, like the controls have been tightened or something. The CPUs are quite unfair and could take your boost away constantly. And even if you get the boost, it's not even guaranteed that it will help in the first place. If you go too fast, it can send your car flying, or you can flip it over an accident, causing you to have to start over again when you're so close to the finish line. And it's not including the fact that this race is pretty bland itself or boring in general. Some minigames involve you to protect someone or shoot something down, which is not perfect, but they work pretty well for the most part. Flying segments in the end game are pretty good, though it feels a little bit slippery from time to time, which could lead to some terrible mistakes. The bosses for the most part was pretty good. No boss felt the same, they were all unique based on the specific characters, which determined the boss's mechanic. Overall, the game in general was pretty fun, and I had a good enough time to finish this game in 2 stream sessions, with one of the streams being 6 hours long, so I'd give the gameplay a 7 out of 10. As far as the soundtrack goes, it's nothing to be amazed about. I'm not saying it's a bad soundtrack in any way, however, I wouldn't say it's a great one either. Although the soundtrack is not garbage, it's not very memorable at all. Like, it doesn't really stand out in any way. When it comes to Mario games or Crash Bandicoot or Banjo-Kazooie, or literally any other game or platformer out there, the soundtrack is usually memorable or at least stands out in some sort of way. Usually in a good video game soundtrack, the game leaves some sort of impact on you even after you turn off the game or after you've beaten the game. When it comes to Sly Cooper, I can't think of a single track that I can remember off the top of my head, and I play this game a lot. You go through the game hearing these tracks, but once you turn off the game, there's not a single one that really sticks to you, or has you remember its tune from time to time. The only one that comes even close to doing that is the song that is played when you fight the boss for the third world. But it's not because of the track itself, it's because the boss is really fun and its mechanics were designed around a rhythm-based game that you had to follow in order to dodge her attacks. Overall, I would give the soundtrack a 3 out of 10. It may seem a little bit critical, but I felt like a 4 out of 5 was too high, and 2 was a bit too low, so I felt like 3 was appropriate in how I was feeling about this game soundtrack. It's not a game ruiner by any way. However, it was quite disappointing once I had to think really hard on it, and then go back and listen to the entire soundtrack just to be equally disappointed in the game and its lost potential. Now, even with PS2 graphics, the characters were expressive, interesting, and attractive in personality. I said personality! The designs are pretty good and memorable, and are honestly very expressive in the facial expressions when it comes to the cartoon version of them. The 3D models seem to have no soul though. There's no expression in their eyes, and it makes it look like they're dead inside, and have seen through a lot to the point where they can no longer see or feel anything. Their interactions with each other seem appropriate, professional in a way, even though Sly Cooper could come across as a flirt to Carmelita, and doesn't intrude where it doesn't belong. From the main villains of the game to the cop to the main cast, all of these actions and interactions seem appropriate, and not very out of character at all. I mean, Sly Cooper is not here to make friends. Sly Cooper is here to do some serious business! Sly is done messing around! He's about to climb through all your windows and lay the smackdown on the villains and give them the beating they deserve! Hell yeah! But as far as my rating goes, I would give the characters an 8.5 out of 10, because there are some characters that could have easily added more to the story and seemed less like a last-minute character plotline, even though it wasn't. In addition, the main villain I found, in my opinion, was very disappointing and very cliche, because at first this bad guy was built up to believe that he was the bad of the bad, and that he was ruthless and never cared about anyone, as long as he got his way. Like some big bad tough guy who also seems to be very intelligent. However, I found it to be very disappointing to where he basically is blabbing on about how evil he is because of how he runs on pure hatred and how you and your family and how he hates you and your family so much and blah 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 whine nonsense. He just felt like a customer complaining at a worker for not returning their item, even though it clearly states in the fine print that you cannot return a product after 90 days, and that is what you're trying to explain, but you can't because you're too busy getting mad and not listening to. As far as pacing goes, the gameplay does not hold your hand. It tells you everything you need to know beforehand, then sends you on your way. There's nothing really much to talk about as far as pacing goes. I have said it before, the story doesn't waste any time. Nothing is dragged out for the most part and seems rushed at all. The final world from its setup seems to drag on for longer than it needs to be, and sometimes there are designs levels that seem very unnecessary. However, overall, my rating is probably a 7 out of 10. And as a quick bonus, as far as the graphics go, they're what you expect from a PS2 game. They don't really stand out or like it's very like unique or revolutionary in a way. Neither are they anything to be impressed by. Some of the 3D character models are very ugly, even for a PS2 game, and are hard to look at. As far as bonus points go, I'm going to give Sly Cooper a +1 out of 3. I give up to 3 bonus points, but I'm gonna give it a +1 because I feel like it does deserve a bonus point for its graphics, but not that much really. As far as my final score for the game, out of 50 possible points, not including the bonus, I give this game a 36.5 out of 50. Honestly, would I recommend this game to anyone? Yes. Although it's not perfect, it has its flaws. This game holds up to be one of my favorite platformers of all time, and I enjoy replaying it every single time. So if you have a PS2 or a way to emulate it, then go ahead and do it. Because if you haven't played this game, then I would say you are missing out on an incredible game. Hello, it's me, CleekGeek. Thanks for watching the video. This is my first time doing kind of like a mini review thing. The whole point was to be comedic, fast-paced, and summarize my thoughts about the game in like a quick manner. So not all the things were like, of course, discussed in detail. There's still like a lot of things I do want to discuss, and I plan on doing that in like a podcast of some sort, and it will be like full length with like my full thoughts of some things. And also, since I made this review, which was like a long time ago, I have played the game again with a friend, and some opinions did shift around and change, but they're mostly the same for the most part. It's just little things might have changed for the better and worse. But yeah, this is my outro. Never done one of these before. Just thanks for watching. If you like the video, then subscribe. If you want me to do more, let me know what you want me to do it on. I plan on hopefully getting better. There's a lot of things that I wish I would have edited better, but I hope to improve on time. One thing I had a problem with in the editing process was not the editing itself. I did get burnt out quite a bit, so I had to take breaks and stuff, and I was able to go back to do it with like full energy. But one thing I had a problem with was music. There's specific musics I had in my head, and I was dead set to use them, and I was searching for like literally 3 hours straight. Couldn't find it, so I had to deal with the substitute. So hopefully the music wasn't that bad. It was a generic song that pretty much fit throughout the whole video. And of course, the next one's gonna be better. Hopefully I can find the music I want for it and like do the all the edits that I want. For the most part of video editing, the video editing aspect of it, making the jokes, turned out really great. It's just like the sound effects, the music editing that like didn't really get a chance to do because I stressed myself trying to look for the specific things to pull this thing off, and then it was like and I couldn't find it. And a lot of other programs I was trying to use to help me find it were not helping me, and it just sucks. That's just about it. But I'm gonna keep the short. It's already been 2 minutes, so thank you guys for watching. I'll go into more detail about the editing process, about my opinions, my full thoughts on the game, like a podcast type deal, and I hope you're looking forward to it. I hope you really like this video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye.